Welcome back to Florida Man Garage, where we have another episode on the 1966 C10 frame swap. So this is episode 10. In this episode, we finally get all of the mounts mounted and welded to the frame. We get everything painted. So as of right now, everything is ready for the body to go back onto this frame. Also, we finish up some odds and ends. We kind of switch gears a lot, going back through some wiring. Then we work on the cab a little bit, getting off that old dash so we can put a new dash on. So we're getting really close to being able to put that old body back on this new frame, and hopefully in the next episode we can mount the cab to this frame and hopefully get this engine started for the first time since the rebuild. So stick around and thanks for watching, guys. So in the last episode, I put that JB Weld type stuff in this hole. So this is the next day, and it's definitely pretty hard there. So I'm gonna call that good enough. Just gonna clean that area up a little bit and then put on the header and gasket on this side. Gonna be good enough. Let's be honest, if there's an exhaust leak, it's not because of this little bit of crap I left here. It's probably because of this uneven surface and missing an entire exhaust bolt. Best of luck to you. We'll go ahead and torque these for what it's worth. This has 2 torque sequences. Click, second pass. Click. Okay, I can probably put the spark plug wires back on and put some dielectric grease on both ends here. Okay, that is just touching that header. I might need some different wires. I'm just gonna clean up this frame a little bit, try to shave this down, this old mount here. Try to get that off, probably pop these off, and just clean everything up so it's ready to weld.
Alright, that mount is completely gone now.
Just gonna go ahead and put some oil in here so it's not sitting so dry. Hopefully within the next couple weeks we can start this up. Okay, I'm just going to grind off all the paint on both the mounts and the frame where I'm going to have to weld. So I'll probably just time lapse all this stuff. Once I get everything grinded off, then I'm going to spray it all with some weld through primer and we'll be ready to go. Not a ton to see here, but I did get it ready to be sprayed with that weld through primer. There's the mid mount, here's the front mount, front support, and this side. And the rear bulkhead just bolts on, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, I finally got spark plug wires that will fit. And I also have these little boots on here too. Just gonna go ahead and put all these on. More of the same on this side. All right, that's all the spark plug wires on. So I got this front support all welded up, painted, ready to go. So gonna go ahead and try to put on that front rad support and then maybe that new radiator I got, try to get it all kind of ready to go. So the next thing I need to do is just put on all those connections for the engine, and hopefully we can start this thing up hopefully tomorrow, but we'll see how far we get. So I did get a new front rad support. The other one was pretty rusted. I'm hoping this fits up pretty nicely. Well, looks nice. So go ahead and put these mounts back on. All right, so go ahead and put this on. How does that even happen? It's good enough for right now. So here's kind of where we're at right now. Have the rad support kind of mocked up there. Just a cheap radiator I got off of Amazon. It's under 200 bucks. I think it should do all right. Seems to just sitting there right now, and it's kind of in like a pretty good spot right there. I was thinking about trying to like lift it up so it's kind of level, but it just sits in there so nicely just like that, where it's like, should I just kind of leave it like this? The cap is the highest point right now. I don't have to raise it up. If I could just get it to kind of sit in there and then somehow get it to attach to the support here somehow, I think that might be good enough. So I went ahead and laid in these inner fenders here, and I kind of realized that we don't have enough room for that other radiator that I had. Kind of have to use a 66 size radiator here, which is only like 27 inches wide. That will fit in between here. I had to return the one that we had. I got a similar one that will fit a 66. We'll have to modify the inlet and outlet a little bit and kind of weld different sizes on there. But so I'm gonna go ahead and switch gears here, take off these inner fenders again, and then probably try to start wiring up that Holley terminator so we can get closer to starting this here. Just gonna try to follow these directions on the Holley terminator here, see if I can get a couple things plugged in. Everything's labeled pretty nicely, so hopefully it's not too bad. Okay, the first one says oil pressure. We'll go ahead and plug this one in. And do the knock sensor next. Okay, the next thing it says to do is the O2 sensor. Next is the coolant temperature sensor. Now we have the idle air control, throttle position sensor. I'm gonna plug in the even side ignition coil harness now. The odd side ignition coils next. Plug in the map sensor next. Plug in the oxygen sensor. I think we need that adapter. I'm gonna plug in the odd side fuel injectors now, starting with number 1 here, number 3 next, number 5 next, now number 7. Now for the even side injectors, number 2 first, then number 4, number 6, and number 8. Okay, that's all the fuel injectors plugged in. Connect the injector harness here. Plug this cam sensor in next. Gonna do the crank sensor next. It's hard to show. It's down by the starter. Okay, so I'm switching gears again. I'm gonna work on the cab today. Seems like everything I try to do, I'm running into some kind of issue. So Gotta keep switching gears here a lot. First was trying to mount the radiator, but then it was too long. Then I started wiring up some of this stuff, and then realized I needed a lot more connectors and stuff like that. So switching gears again, working on the biggest project here to me. This is causing me the most stress. It's trying to get this cab kind of back to being ready to put back onto the body, back onto the frame, I mean. First thing I want to do is get the sill plate off. These are all rusted and seized, so I'm going to try to weld these little hex nuts to these, try to get those out. So it's going to be my first thing I'm going to do today, try to get these out and get this off, see how that goes. Just going to clean off the head first. Okay, let's see how this goes. Got one. Nice. Okay, so I got one of them out. I'm gonna keep going, try to get some more. Got one more out. Still got 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. Hopefully we can get a little bit better at this as we go on. Got that one, second try. All right, this is gonna be first try. Yes. Nice. Some more. I think we're getting a little bit better at this. Got one more. Got them all out. Go ahead and pull off this weather stripping. So here's where we're at right now after we got that sill plate off. There's definitely, obviously, some damage here. So we're gonna fix some of this up. It's not gonna be perfect. This stage of the build is just get it back on the road, fix some of this stuff here, and then eventually, later down the road, we'll kind of revisit some of this stuff. But just wanna fix some of the bigger stuff here. Maybe fix a little bit of this, but not worry about it too much. Just be here forever doing this stuff. Okay, the last thing I need the welder for right now is to get this dimmer switch out. So 2 more strip bolts on there that I need to get off. Go ahead and try to use the welder to get those off as well. Okay, got that one out. It was broken over here. I still have a bolt I want to get out. Might as well try while we're here. All right, just gonna vacuum that side up a little bit. Okay, the next things I want to do is kind of get some of this stuff out of here as far as this gauge cluster and the pedals, so then I can get the whole dash out because we're going to be replacing the whole dash. It's too far gone to repair. Hopefully these come out nicely. Okay, I think I can get the brake pedal assembly out now. And go ahead and pull out this gauge cluster now. Okay, I'm gonna try and get this glove box out now. So we're switching gears again, going back to this wiring a little bit. So the Holley Terminator X has this manifold air temperature sensor, and it's not on this manifold. Maybe it was on the intake boot or something, I'm not sure. But I saw on YouTube, people put the sensor in this spot here that used to have that emissions thingy here. So I got the sensor. I'm going to take this off. You have to bore this out a little bit. So I'm gonna have to take off the throttle body so I can vacuum out the little shavings that fall here. Here's that sensor. You have to also grind off these little ribs right here, these two, and then I'll use some RTV and put that in that hole, and then should be good to go from there. So step one, get the throttle body off, get this little plug off, gonna grind these off, bore that out a little bit, put this in there. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I'm gonna start by grinding off the little things on here. Just gonna tape off the sensor portion here. Gonna try to buff it with the Scotch-Brite a little bit. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Got all those ridges off. It doesn't need too much, it almost does fit. All right, I Dremeled it down to the point where this sensor will fit now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit of RTV sealant on there just to make sure we don't have any kind of vacuum leak. Not too much, just a real thin layer here. Okay, it's in there. Okay, you can see the sensor poking through down there. Got it in here. It's a pretty tight fit, so I don't think there's gonna be any kind of vacuum leak. Just gonna go ahead and put back on that throttle body and we're done with this job. I'm plugging these three sensors now. TPS right here, idle air control here. And then now we can plug in that manifold air temperature sensor. And go ahead and put on the battery positive cable now. Just gonna connect it to the starter now. And go ahead and do these grounds. The next thing I'm going to try to do is get this dash out and also get this front cowl off. Now a lot of these are stripped out, so I'm going to have to weld to these again here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least I have to weld to. And this has spot welds all here that we have to drill out. See all these spot welds we have to get out. All right, should be able to pull this off now. Here's all those bolts I had to weld nuts to. Came off pretty decent. That took about 15 minutes total. Just gonna start drilling these out, see how it goes. I think I need to drill a small hole through all of them first. Oh, we got it. Okay, now that I got the dash out, I'm gonna take out this window motor. I think this bracket is rusted and broken, so I have to figure that out at some point. Here's our next problem, is that this bracket is rusted. So I wonder if I can get a new bracket that I can weld onto there. Guess I'll have to look. I'm just gonna try to get the rest of this wiper motor stuff out. So I think these might be the sprayers for the windshield or something. I'm not sure, but probably not gonna come out. At least one came out. Try it with a screwdriver, I guess. I guess we have to weld another nut on. Okay, I'll deal with that in a second. I get this bolt out. The other one's on this side. This is the last one right here, so I guess I might as well go ahead and just try to get it out. Or at least I'm getting better at that. Just gonna try to use the grinder here with this wire wheel, try to clean up some of this rust here so I can just see how bad it really is, see how much I really have to replace. This part here doesn't look too bad, but I don't know, there's a lot of little holes and stuff, so I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit. So I got the new radiator in, and it doesn't quite match up with the holes here. And it's a little bit, the brackets are a little bit too long, so it's gonna hit those inner fenders. I'm gonna have to modify the mounts so it fits onto this rad support here, which I didn't think I was gonna have to do. I guess I do. So I'm gonna take off this support, bring it to the bench over there, and see if we can line everything up, cut it, drill new holes, all that stuff. And go ahead and take off this two nuts holding this rad support on. Let's see what we can do from there. So here's the problem we have. On this side, it's lined up where it should be. And then on this side, here's where it should be, and it's out that much. So we're gonna have to probably trim down those brackets, and then probably have to trim down these too. So that inner fender mounts to these holes down here. So all this can't, this all has to be open here. See, these are the holes that it mounts to, so nothing can really be past that point. So that line is how much I have to cut off. 18 millimeters on each side. So yeah, if you buy these Chinese parts, just know you're probably gonna have to do some modifications. So it is what it is. Just gonna trim that down, drill some new holes. I have to trim this one down also. Try the jigsaw first. Gonna sand down these edges real quick. So that's how much I had to cut off of each side. Gonna see if it fits now. Okay, now we are lining up with that edge, and it looks like there is enough room still to get a bolt in there. I think we're pretty good here. Same on this side. But I still have to modify this top piece here so that piece can slide down into there. And go ahead and take off this fan shroud so I can modify this bracket. Okay, gotta cut that one down, 18 millimeters on each side also. And then we should be able to drill new holes, mount it back up, and then be done with this part. Realized I probably could have like left the little tabs here for the things to connect to. Too late now. Okay, I marked out the holes. Now I'm just gonna drill them out and hope that they line up. So the holes line up pretty decently. Gotta move this one, waller that one out a little bit. That one's pretty good. But now my problem is the holes are too close to the radiator there, so something like this won't work. So I had to order some like hex bolts here. So gotta wait for those to come in. Gonna finish drilling the other holes, then we'll go from there. So here's where we are after doing some crude modifications. Got these 3 holes to line up pretty good, pretty level at the top of this rad support. But somehow these ones are not lining up at all. So I don't know, we got this top part cut down, modified back on. So maybe I'll just do some self tappers like here, maybe here, I don't know. But step 1 of modifying the radiator is complete, or close enough, I guess. The next thing I have to do is make this outlet smaller, and this one also smaller. So I'm gonna have a buddy weld some new flanges on there. We're gonna weld in a flange for the steam port here. That should be pretty much good to go. So I'm just gonna end this episode with showing that the frame is all welded up. Got the new mounts welded, everything painted. Here's these mounts, got the mid mounts here, all welded up. This rear bulkhead just bolts on, doesn't need to be welded. So as of right now, the frame is ready to accept the old body, but we still have a lot of work to do on that cab and all of the body pieces. They all need a lot of work, so it's kind of going to be where the next episode leads into. A lot of work on those old body parts, getting them onto the frame and seeing if this engine still runs. So thanks for watching, guys, and on the next episode we'll get into some of the other stuff.